Path of devotion most elective for Kaliyuga, Karma Yoga is very hard indeed. In the Kaliyuga it is extremely difficult to perform the rites enjoined in the scriptures. Nowadays man's life is centered on food alone. He cannot perform many scriptural rites. Suppose a man is laid up with fever. If you attempt a slow cure with the old-fashioned indigenous remedies, before long his life may be snuffed out. He can't stand much delay. Nowadays the drastic D-Gupta mixture is appropriate. In the Kaliyuga the best way is Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion singing the praises of the Lord, and prayer. The path of devotion alone is the religion for this age. To the Brahmo devotees, yours also is the path of devotion. Blessed you are indeed that you chant the name of Hari and sing the Divine Mother's glories. I like your attitude. You don't call the world a dream like the non-dualists. You are not Brahmajnanis like them. You are Bhaktas, lovers of God. That you speak of him as a person is also good. You are devotees. You will certainly realize him if you call on him with sincerity and earnestness. The boat cast anchor at Kaliyuga and the passengers prepared to disembark. On coming outside they noticed that the full moon was up. The trees, the buildings, and the boats on the Ganges were bathed in its mellow light. A carriage was hailed for the master, and a few devotees got in with him. The master asked for Kashyap. Presently the latter arrived and inquired about the arrangements made for the master's return to Dakshineswar. Then he bowed low and took leave of Sri Ramakrishna. The carriage drove through the European quarter of the city. The master enjoyed the sight of the beautiful mansions on both sides of the well-lighted streets. Suddenly he said, "I am thirsty. What's to be done?" Nandalal, Kashyap's nephew, stopped the carriage before the India Club and went upstairs to get some water. The master inquired whether the glass had been well washed. On being assured that it had been, he drank the water. As the carriage went along, the master put his head out of the window and looked with childlike enjoyment at the people, the vehicles, the horses, and the streets, all flooded with moonlight. Now and then he heard European ladies singing at the piano. He was in a very happy mood. The carriage arrived at the house of Suresh Mitra, who was a great devotee of the master and whom he addressed affectionately as Surendra. He was not at home. The members of the household opened a room on the ground floor for the master and his party. The cab fare was to be paid. Surendra would have taken care of it had he been there. The master said to a devotee, "Why don't you ask the ladies to pay the fare? They certainly know that their master visits us at Dakshineswar. I am not a stranger to them." Quote, all laugh. Narendra, who lived in that quarter of the city, was sent for. In the meantime Sri Ramakrishna and the devotees were invited to the drawing room upstairs. The floor of the room was covered with a carpet and a white sheet. A few cushions were lying about. On the wall hung an oil painting especially painted for Surendra, in which Sri Ramakrishna was pointing out to Kashyap the harmony of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and other religions. On seeing the picture Kashyap had once said, "Blessed is the man who conceived the idea." Sri Ramakrishna was talking joyously with the devotees. When Narendra arrived, this made the master doubly happy. He said to his young disciple, "We had a boat trip with Kashyap today. Vijay and many other Brahmo devotees were there." Pointing to M. "Ask him what I said to Kashyap and Vijay about the mother and daughter observing their religious fast on Tuesdays, each on her own account, though the welfare of the one meant the welfare of the other. I also said to Kashyap that troublemakers like Jatila and Katila were necessary to lend zest to the play." To M. "Isn't that so?" M. "Yes, sir, quite so." It was late. Surendra had not yet returned. The master had to leave for the temple garden, and a cab was brought for him. M. and Narendra saluted him and took their leave. Sri Ramakrishna's carriage started for Dakshineswar through the moonlit streets.